Alright everyone, welcome to the channel. This is GPS Intro. This is a Tesla. This is your Pocket 3D. This is a very new channel. I actually just started this YouTube channel yesterday. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing how to understand what we're doing on the job site when it comes to this GPS. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and sign in. This is the FC5000 Tesla. This is a job I did back in Houston. Look at that. Beautiful. Anyways, guys, as you can see, it looks just like a computer, because it is. This is a tablet that is a computer. It can do everything your computer can do. I highly recommend that you don't do things that you shouldn't do. Mainly because once you get a virus, it is really hard to clean these things up. It is a computer, but it doesn't act like a computer sometimes. Alright. So when you get to this screen, the only thing you should do is just click on this right here. Alright. I got one of these pins right here. As you can see, I got this at Best Buy. Okay. It's the bamboo. Sorry for my dirty fingernails. Jesus Christ. I guess it comes with the job, right? Play with dirt all day. Sometimes you gotta double tap it. Oh. Alright, so sometimes you gotta be slow with these things. Alright, so this is the project that I was at yesterday. This is my base. It is not set up. Okay, this is the GR5. Some of y'all are probably using the newer ones, which newer isn't always better. Alright. So guys, this is the plans. Okay. So when they put the plans, they're going to create a CAD file. With that CAD file, there's a guy that will take all the information from that CAD file and he'll design this on a computer in a TP3 file. And all it is a different type of format that allows the software to be able to understand what that data is and use it. Now, let me just put this out there. I could be completely wrong. Okay? I did not go to school for this. So if I do say anything that is not correct, please correct me in the comments. I would love to learn maybe the terminology of some of this stuff and actually what it means. But I can at least show you and tell you how to freaking go to work with this. Okay, so what we're going to do here, as you can see, I'm not connected. I'm not going to be able to connect because I don't have anything set up at this job. I'm at a whole different job. I don't even see a GPS pole here. I'm here a couple hours early, so decided I'll make a video for y'all. Try to get my glare out so it's easier for you to see. Okay. Sorry for the poor quality, guys. This is the first video. I'm not new to YouTube. I have another channel, but we're not going to talk about that. Alright. So, as you can see, you have all your little buttons down here. You see that hand? Okay. As of right now, I can grab everything. See how I can grab it? I can zoom out. Oh, and let me tell you, I've done this before. I have uploaded a job into this, and that's all I seen. And so I figured that I did not upload the job right because it was just a little dot make sure you zoom in, okay? Because it took me 2 hours to figure out that I didn't zoom in. And I could have easily really messed up the file trying to figure this out. So, for some reason, this thing zooms all the way out. You know, I don't know why, but that's what it does. Alright, so as you can see, this is a parking lot. Okay. You know, I don't really remember. Oh, that's right. Okay, so this is a parking lot, and these are apartment buildings. And you can see all these lines. You know, and it can be kind of confusing, alright? So, you see the red. Those are my curbs. Okay? When I'm running GPS and I'm going to cut this parking lot out, it's got to be pretty perfect. You know, you got to get it, you know, to a tenth, at least. And when you're cutting, when you're taking your dozer and you're going through here, you can't just turn on GPS and cut it out. People have a misconception of what GPS is, and they think that, oh, anybody can just get in GPS. And then, another thing, I've seen people with 30 years of experience on a dozer, and you stick them in a GPS dozer, and they can't do anything. Okay? So, GPS, being a GPS operator who's actually good and understands the GPS is a whole nother level. Okay, guys? So, let's say that there is nothing here and it's a flat field, and it's your first day on the job, and you wanna figure out how to get this job started. Alright, so first off, you're gonna go stripping grass, you know. Now, if the job isn't lined out, what you can do on the dozer, what I always do on the dozer is I always track around, okay? You need to take that dozer and you need to put that blade barely on the ground, and you need to go around and you need to see what's there. Now, you can look at a topo. Alright. This is what a topo paper will look like. Shows you, alright, you know, shows you where the fill is and where the cut is. That's all nice, you know, that's nice and all. But you need to know yourself. Okay, so when you need to go out here and you need to figure out where this cut is. And all you gotta do is just make a few little cuts, alright? Now, don't try to hog out a whole 2 feet. You know, put your blade down and watch. Another thing is, guys, I'm gonna make another video, okay, to set up your dozer. I've been working, so I moved out here from Texas to Kansas City, and dealing with some of these operators, you know, I don't think they fully understand the full potential of the GPS tools on the dozer. So I'm gonna make another video separately when I have time in a dozer to kind of reset up your display options, okay? So you can have your indicators here on the dozer. I don't have it, but you can go into options and pull up your viewing options, and on the left side and right side you can put grade indicators. Those grade indicators are going to tell you the corners of your blades and where it needs to be. I don't understand why anybody would not want that. So when you run your blade on the ground, you can see how high and low it is right there in front of you without having to do the math of these little numbers over here. You don't have to even think about numbers. You can just look. If it's in the green, you're good. If it's in the red, your high, if it's in the, or something, you know, it's one or the other. It's, who knows? But I'll make another video. Alright. Like I said, guys, this is just an intro to this channel. I'm just pretty much giving y'all some detail of what this channel is going to be about. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to pull up plans. I'm going to put plans on here, and I'm going to show y'all how to read those plans and how to take those plans and incorporate that into this as you're working on a daily basis. Okay, guys? I was at a job, I want to say just a few days ago. This guy was running GPS. Okay, this ain't the job. I could probably pull up the job, but I'm not going to do all that. You know what? Let's do it. Okay. So look, guys, if you want to change jobs, here's your data. All this right here, let's go through it. Project. That's where all your projects are. Okay. Control. That's going to be where your control points are. Your control points are your points that should not move throughout the whole job site. So those points should be staked out with elevation, so you can always double check yourself. And you always want to double check yourself, guys. This GPS is not always right. Excuse me. There is so many factors that can go into play that can make this GPS off. So if you have a rover, I would check your blade as much as possible. Know what your dozer is going to be at. Alright? If you don't have a rover, you can easily check it by other means. Okay? If the job is already going and there's already stuff out here, you can take that blade and you can do what's called a position check. I'll make like I said, I'll make a video to show y'all how to do all that. You can do what's called a position check, and you can shoot it off one corner of the blade, and you can walk that dozer up to something that is already built, like a curb, top of concrete. You can pull the plans up and see what that elevation is supposed to be. Okay? Let's say it's supposed to be 973.00. Well, you can take that blade and you can put that blade right on top of that concrete. Alright, guys, sorry about that. I had to get in this machine, because I also have to work. Anyways, so back to what I was saying. You can take your concrete, or you can take the top of your blade, and you can come over here, find the elevation on the plans, okay? And with the dozer, you can do a position check where it shows you the elevation, and you can put that blade right above the top of that concrete, and you can pretty much tell if everything is adding up. And you can see on the GPS on the dozer, if your blade is above the concrete and on the GPS screen it's showing you're over here, something's wrong. Okay, so you need to double check yourselves all the time. I've seen where people have put something in and it's 10 feet off. Well, guess what? Ain't nobody getting paid, and you might lose your job. Alright, so guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick walkthrough through this. I know this is a little bit longer video than I expected, but we're gonna go ahead and just really quick show you what all this means. Alright, so that right there is your base. No, I'm sorry. That's your base. Even though that one looks like the base, this is the base. This is the antenna. Okay? So you have to remember that. This is how you set up your base station setup. If I was to set this up, known control point base. Usually I don't mess with this stuff, okay? Usually this is exactly how it is, alright? We do 0. It all depends on who comes out and localizes the job. Whoever comes out and localizes the job is gonna really determine the height and what control point it's going to go off of. And once he does that, usually, alright, so you see what I just did there? Alright, it says connecting to base. Boom, boom, boom. Let's finish. That is where I would click my base if it's on. My base isn't on, so what you would do there, click and then click OK, and it's going to connect to it. My base is turned off. It's in my truck, so it ain't going to work. But that's how you would set up base. Alright. That's pretty much all I use in this little column here. Usually when you go to the radios and all that, that's because if you're on a big job site where multiple companies are out there and they might have other GPS equipment out there, you can change your radio channel. That way your signal isn't being interfered by somebody else's signal. So that's what the radio setup and all that crap, that's what you can do with that. Data. Alright, so back to this project. So this is where all your oh, sorry guys, I'm trying to click on this from the phone. Alright, so guys, go to project, boom. This is where all of the projects are. You can pick all these projects, you know. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, so that's how you get your project on here. You always need to make sure you have the right project before you set your base up, okay? Or else it's going to think it's at a different project. Your control points, you can actually see the control points. You can pull the control points up on here where it shows you where they are. My control points from the guy that designed them look like these. They got a little triangle and it says CP for control point 353. It's going to tell you. I can pull the elevation of that control point at any time. Let's say that my base station, which is on this control point, let's say a mower somebody's mowing on this property that is not this, and their mower hits my pole, because we put poles in the ground to where they stay there all the time. Let's say someone hit that pole. Now that pole was compromised and we can't use it. Or if it's in a bad spot, let's say that, you know, they wanted to put an entrance here and somebody wasn't really thinking, or the project changed and they, instead of an entrance there, they're going to put an entrance right here on my control point. Well, you can use a different control point. And you can, you know, that's, those control points kind of help in a lot of ways. Alright. So let's go back to this. That's your control point. Surface. Alright. So guys, that's the finished design surface. Alright, and here it looks like I got a road surface. The surface is what is showing on the screen. Okay? And then you have layers. Okay, so you can change these layers. Let's say I don't want to see half of this crap. Alright? I don't need the 2D curve. And honestly, man guys, let me just be honest, it's been a while since I've done some of this stuff, so I might be wrong on some of this stuff, but you know, I'm giving you an idea of what you can do with it, okay? So let's say, I think I'm going to turn a lot of these things off. Let's see. Look at that. Look at that. I was able to get rid of all the stalls. Alright. Curb line, whatever. So now that that's not on there, the blade on my GPS isn't going to mess up when I go over those lines. Okay, so if I was to take my dozer and I was to track along here and I'm cutting grade and I pass over that curb, well, guess what's going to happen? If half of my blade is on that curb and the other half of my blade is over here, it's going to want to split that blade in half, because this is going to be a higher elevation than down there, because you're cutting out a parking lot. So you got to keep that in mind. When you go and take these lines off, that allows you to not have that problem, and that you can work your way up to the curb. So let's say you're going to do a building pad, right? And you got all these freaking lines going on. Like, let's say you got underground, you got all this underground pipe, all right? And when you travel along there, your blade's going to act up over those because it's trying to read the pipe elevation, the curb elevation, the pavement elevation. It's trying to read all those elevations at once, and it's trying to do it all at once, and you can't. All right, now you don't have to get rid of these lines to fix that problem. There, guys, if you look in the description of my channel, there is 100 or a million ways to do something. Okay, so if you know a better way, please feel free to share in the comments. But what I'm getting at is, when you're doing stuff like that, you don't have to get rid of these lines. I'm just showing y'all to give y'all an idea what this stuff is, all right? What these buttons do, you know, layers. I took those layers off. Now you can see that not all of the data is on there. So if you were working on an area and you needed to really see what was going on there, and you needed to get rid of something that was throwing off your GPS, that's where you can go to do it, all right? Another way you can do it is you can always do what's called blade control, where you can take, let's say best fit is going to best, all right, so if you, on a dozer, I'll show you later, but there's multiple options, best fit, and then there's also pick a corner. So you can do best fit, and it's going to bounce off the whole blade. So whatever it thinks is going to be best. So if 50% of your blade is in the parking lot, and 50% of the blade is in the curb, you're shit out of luck. But if you're 60% of the parking lot and 40% on the curb, it's gonna shoot for the parking lot. Does that make sense? So that's best fit. Wherever most of your blade is at, that's where it's gonna try to cut. That's where it's gonna try to shoot off of your blade, okay? If you only got a foot on the curb, it's not gonna pick that up. It's going to do the rest of your blade on this side of the curb. But if you got only a foot over here and you got the rest of your blade on that, it's gonna try to cut this and not that. All right, guys, and that's where them old timers get really confused on that GPS, because they don't know what the hell is going on. And all you got to do is just change where you're shooting your blade from, or come at it a different direction. I hope the AC works in this thing. Anyways, so that's where we're at, layers. Extremely loud, Jesus guys, sorry about that. I'm in some rinky-dink freaking excavator. Alright, line work. So this is where you can pull up all your line work, okay? Also guys, another thing, this is where, let's say you need to create a plane surface. What a plane surface is, all right guys, let's say this is your building and you're gonna do a building pad, okay? And you got all these crazy lines going on and your GPS is not able to figure it out, all right? So then you got to troubleshoot and you got to make it figure it out. How you can do that is do a plane surface. Alright guys, you can look at the plans, double check the plans, always double check the plans. Alright, some guy at home that figured out how to make this shit and make money, you can't rely on that guy, because let me tell you, you don't have to go to school to be able to make this model. There is no degree required to make this, okay? So you can't depend on somebody that you don't know who didn't even go to school for. Okay? Always double check the plans. Right here is your elevation. Like this is your pad. Let's say on the plans you have elevation right here, right? And you look at the plans and you see the elevation. you can take that elevation, you can create a surface, okay? You can create a surface that will allow you to put that elevation number in the GPS computer, and from there on, everything you cut will be at that elevation. Okay, so if the building was at 973, that's the elevation for the building pad. All right, you need to cut this pad out. You could literally cut this whole freaking job out at that elevation on auto. Now, what I mean by auto, I don't mean the dozer's gonna do it for you. Okay, guys, you got to get it down to at least a couple tenths. I like to get it down to 2/10 or a tenth before I start using my autos. Okay, because the autos is there to do finish grade. It's not there to cut the whole thing out. You can, don't get me wrong, you definitely can, and I recommend you do. You could cut this whole job out to GPS. Let's say that you did a topo on this job and everything's 3 feet too high and you're gonna fucking hog out a lot of dirt. Sorry for my language. You're gonna hog out a lot of dirt. Well, you can shape this whole job by doing a 3-foot offset. All right, why would you do that? Because then you know what you're doing. You know that the GPS, you're making it easier for the GPS if you do that. If you cut this whole job out how the GPS wants it, and then work your way down to grade by doing offsets, you can do like a 3-foot offset. Let's start with the 3-foot offset. Let's say you're 3 feet too high. Well, you can put that blade on the ground. You can actually put that blade on the ground and hit match. Okay, guys? You can hit match, and it will match the grade that you put that blade on, and it'll cut the whole job out to that grade, and it'll show you down there what the offset is, okay? I will get, hey, this is the first video. We're gonna get there, guys. All right, points and line work. So what the line work is, that's all these lines. The guy that created all these lines, well, guess what? You can create some too. But I'm not gonna show y'all how to do that right now. I don't want y'all to get fired. Okay. You can import line works. Let's say there's a change order on the job and they want to change something. Okay. Well, they can send you the new model, which is probably going to have all the line work. But let's say you wanted to create something or whatever. This is where you import, export your line work. Okay. I could go create a job on a blank thing. I can go take shots and create my line work. I can do all that on this device. I can create this whole thing on here. Now, it ain't gonna be as accurate as doing it on the computer, but it can be done. Okay, and that's pretty much what that is. That's where you can export, you can list them, see all the line work and layers. I don't know, I guess there's none in layer 0, but see, you can pull up all these and look at the line work on it. If you're having an issue with one of the GPS lines on there, I mean, you could easily double check that, look at it. And we're still at that. At points, same thing with points. All the shots that were taken on this job, you can look at them. Okay, you can look at them, you can see the elevations, you know. I don't know why there's a layer, 0 layer. Kind of stupid. But for instance, let's say apparently nobody did that. All right. So anyways, it was probably loading. It was probably like 100. All right. All this right here, guys, on this Tesla, this is for whenever you're doing rover. Okay. You need a rover to do this part. All right. That's where you connect to the rover. All the rover is another GPS base station antenna, and you turn it into an antenna for the rover, and you put it on the pole and you walk around. All right, and when you do that, you have these little things down here, and you can change. Alright, so this right here, I can find a point on there, right guys, and it will make me line up to it as I'm walking. It's like playing a video game. Anyways, we're gonna move on. That's what all this stuff is. You know, once I get a rover, I'll start showing y'all. This company hasn't really given me a rover yet. There's a lot going on here with this company, but anyway, your grid lines, you can kind of change. We'll go over some of that more. This is just an you know, like I said, guys, this is just an intro to this YouTube channel. All right. Look, guys, I'm out here on the site. I'm out here on the site and on YouTube. So here we go. I appreciate y'all, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm gonna be posting videos daily or weekly. Y'all take care. Be safe out there.